Elite Facts presents
10 scary TV commercials.
10.
PS3 baby and old Russian man. In the mid-2000s, it can be argued that video games had become something more than just games. Sony intended to prove this with their weird ad campaign to promote their new console, the PlayStation 3. These advertisements were creepy, to say the least, and the creepiest of these series was the infamous baby commercial. What are we supposed to get out of that, huh? That the PS3 will make creepy baby dolls cry, retract their tears, and confuse it with their mother? That's terrifying. It didn't end there, however, as another advertisement, known as the This Is Living ad, featured a naked Russian man lying in a bathtub in a darkened room and challenging viewers to think about their lives before pulling a gun on them and cackling. What was Sony smoking?
9.
Resident Evil 2 Japanese commercial. Okay, so this one is a bit of a cheat since the advertisement promotes a horror video game. However, back then, games were still seen as nothing but kids' things, so an advertisement like this was something completely different. The way the ad was presented was more like a 1980s horror film, which is something that children should not be exposed to, as it featured fantastically realistic makeup effects and the use of guns. What arguably made this ad a huge success was that it was directed by legendary horror director and the king of zombie films, George Romero. There was also another ad with stock footage from this one, but presented more like a psychological nightmare. Yes, for teenagers and adults, this advertisement was awesome, but you can sort of see how scary it would be for a 5-year-old child who owns a PS1 and a copy of Crash Bandicoot.
8.
Levi's Evolution, early 1970s, animator Chris Blum. During the 1960s and early 70s, it was almost normal for people to drop acid. Sure, it was illegal, but it was so popular that even the police back then were probably on it. The people behind Levi's commercials were also probably dropping it. These ads were like some weird acid trip gone wrong. It asks you, what if human life didn't turn out the way it did, before showing you some of the weirdest visuals you could imagine. Thanks for the nightmare, Levi's.
7.
As she gets in her car, the little girl is suddenly outside staring through the window, thus giving the woman the shock of her life. This was only so she could try and sell her a phone. This ad was really creative and wasn't really scary to adults. However, this ad did air during the day when children could watch. So obviously, when they got scared by it, a lot of parents went on a boycott rampage to get the ad off of television.
3.
Japanese Autoway tire advertisement. Carrying on the theme of the paranormal, Japanese company Autoway Tires created an ad that is actually quite terrifying no matter what age you are. The ad begins with a disclaimer stating, quote, "Not for the faint of heart. Please refrain from watching the content if any of the following applies to you. Have any mental or physical health concerns and may have to see a doctor regularly. We shall not be liable for any injuries, illness, and damages claimed to be caused by watching the contents." Now, when you see that, you know you're in for a scary experience. The ad is shot from a dash cam perspective as this vehicle is driving through a snowy woodland area. The car eventually comes across the figure of a young woman standing in the middle of the road. As the car stops, it just shows the woman in the middle of the road for a few seconds, only for her to suddenly appear on the windshield, scaring the driver and the audience watching. This has easily earned the reputation as one of the scariest commercials ever created.
2.
McDonald's 1960s commercial. Who doesn't know Ronald McDonald? He's only the mascot of the biggest food chain in the world. Well, if you were around for his first televised ad, odds are you're still having nightmares about him. The first time we ever see him is when he's shown in a darkly lit room looking at the television set almost menacingly. Obviously, that's not what they were going for, but that's how this ad came across. We get our first proper look at him when the lights switch on, and it's fairly safe to say that he looks a lot more creepy than Pennywise from the film It. The commercial itself is just fine, but believe it or not, people were scared of it because a lot of people have a legit phobia of clowns, and Ronald's original design is just plain creepy.
1.
Little Baby's Ice Cream. What even is this advertisement? This ad is the definition of insanity. It features a person covered in ice cream staring into your soul as it eats ice cream. The narrator doesn't make things any better as he creepily talks about his skin and then creepily says, "I eat babies," before pausing for a brief second and then saying, "ice cream," referring to the name of the product. As this is happening, the camera is zooming out to reveal that the person staring into your soul is made out of ice cream and he's eating the ice cream from the top of his head. What nut job made this?
Don't forget to like us and subscribe for more Elite Facts.